Greetings and blessings, everyone. This is the Reverend James Thomas Devitt, founder of the Blue Star Spiritual Group, the Facebook group The Way, Spiritual Philosophy, and of the Blue Star Temple Spiritual School. This is video 2 for the Blue Star Spiritual School. And it's a video that I have contemplated doing for quite some time. And put a post out about my thinking around this and mentioned the rabbit hole. So I'm going to call this the plan, going down the rabbit hole. For millennia, for a very long time, people, especially religious people, have contemplated what God's plan is for Earth and what God's plan is for the people of Earth. For many of the modern day religious people, this is based, or their thought process around it is based on man-made dogma. So it's not what I would really term overly accurate. It's a hodgepodge of different views and different ideas that really doesn't make a lot of sense. It's like in Christianity, they believe that Armageddon's going to come. Now, I, for one, have been to Armageddon, and it's a fairly peaceful place. They felt that it would happen there because it had seen so many battles, so many wars fought there. It's actually a valley. It's called Mijio. It's in northern Israel, and it is called Armageddon. But is it our destiny to be destroyed in an all-out battle between light and dark, between the forces of light and the forces of darkness, or as the Essenes would say, between the sons of light and the sons of darkness? And the answer, of course, is no. Now, the readings that I do are called personal Akashic readings, or personal Akashic scroll. The reason that they're called that is because I access a person's Akashic records and ascertain or receive the most important things that individual needs to know at this time. I don't go in and view their entire Akashic record, mostly because that would take forever and a day, because that houses all of the lifetimes you've lived, all of the experiences, everything you've learned. Just too much. So I focus on the important aspects that individual needs right now, right today, to assist them on their path. Now, through this, I've been able to also access parts of the Akashic record with regards to the plan, along with my own memories of home and where I come from. I am a volunteer. I don't come from Earth, and I don't look like this. Not in true reality. But in this lifetime, this is me, and it is what it is. So, we're going to talk about the plan. We're going to go down the rabbit hole a little bit, because it's time. Now, one time, I'm not going to go heavily into this. At one time, there were civilizations on other planets besides Earth in the solar system. We have free will choice, just as they did. They bombed the hell out of each other, and now we're sitting around guessing and wondering what occurred, what happened, and no one really knows. But my focus today is not going to be on other civilizations per se. It is going to be on here, planet Earth, all of us. This planet created naturally, life created naturally on this planet. The life evolved naturally on this planet. When it reached a particular vibrational frequency level, a signal was sent out. There are many names for things. Like everybody else, I have my own labels, things that I use. So, signal was sent out to what I term the Great Central Sun. Basically, the Great Central Sun is the home of God, source, all that is, whatever terminology you wish to use. But it's not just the place where God resides. There are planets filled with life there. Many of the groups, many of the worlds in the Great Central Sun area, they serve God and they serve this universe. In human terms, you might say they are God's representatives. And so when this signal reaches, 4 groups from the Great Central Sun came to this planet. And they began a process of assessments of this planet. At one time there were, I would say, probably a good 24 different human species on this planet. We know of some. Homo sapiens, of course. Neanderthal, the giants, the people that they have located, the remains rather, that they have located in Indonesia, which they call the hobbits because of their extremely small stature. There is skulls that they have found in Peru and other places with elongated skulls. Some say that this is due to headbanding, and apparently there are those that they know are of headbanding, but there's also skulls that is not of headbanding. I don't think that we will ever discover all of the different species of humans that have lived on this planet. So there's a lot of different relatives around the assessments made. Assessments around the stability of the planet, the stability of the system, the solar system. Tectonic plates, can the energetic grids of the planet be altered? Can they be worked? Can they be utilized? But the bottom line, the bottom question has to be answered. Can the native human population evolve? In our case, the answer was yes. Lucky us. Now, in amongst this, there were a group from Orion, a reptilian contingent, shall we say, who attempted to annex this planet. They were removed. A request was made of the Galactic Federation, as it's come to known, for a group of beings to assist in protecting this world and quarantining this world to a certain degree. And the group that does this and has done this for a very long time, we all know as the Ashtar Command. It's been a process of awakening, of discerning, of bringing through information from the Akashic Records. The information that I have is not fully complete, but it is about as close to the truth as you're going to find, in my opinion. So, before I continue, let me state this straight up. Everything that I'm saying, don't just blindly accept as truth. Discern within your own heart, see what it feels like. If it resonates, explore it, experience it, see where it leads you. If it does not, put it on a shelf, throw it away. If it's something that you require later on, it will come back around. Don't judge it. Don't. Okay. Once it was determined that the planet could evolve, one of the four groups was assigned to be in charge, but the four groups themselves created a council amongst themselves, and they are in charge of administering this project, of making sure this project goes forward and goes ahead. So they put out a call to the Pleiadians, and the Pleiadians came and they began a process of evaluation of the different human species. And different members of the different human species were taken and basically put in, mind you, human terms here, basically put into cryogenic freeze to preserve them. I'll get to the reason for that shortly. They then, through their evaluations, took up several different beings, native humans, and altered their DNA and RNA. Now, the reason for this alteration is very simple. These humans evolved naturally on this planet. As such, they did not have souls. They did not have what I term the divine spark, which is our connection to God, to all that is. The alterations within the native human population was designed specifically to open a doorway, a quantum, multidimensional doorway that would allow the divine spark to enter into that individual. And when that happened, a metamorphosis occurred and a soul was created within that being. They didn't do this to everyone. They did it to different individuals, both male and female. And as these individuals mated, had children, their children were born with that divine spark and with a soul. Eventually, over a course of many, many generations, everyone, all the native human population on the planet, had the divine spark and had a soul. Now, during this process, this council of the four main groups, for purposes of this discussion, of this talk, we'll say it was the Council of the Great Central Sun for planet Earth. And the Council of the Great Central Sun for planet Earth put out a call to volunteers. And this call went out throughout the universe. There were individuals who had done this before on other worlds who put their hand up and said, "Yep, I'm coming, I'm going to be there." There were those who had participated in other projects like this who said, I'm actually moving on to other things. And then of course you have these beings who are like, "Wow, that sounds cool." And so they, they've never done it before, but here they come. And so each one of the four groups, each ship has different responsibilities. On the main ship where the Council of the Great Central Sun for planet Earth sits, that's where the volunteers went. And they went there to prepare. Now, these four groups, as well as the Pleiadians, had been here for quite a long time. And they had been observing what went on here for a very long time. So they began preparing the volunteers for the project, for what they were going to be doing, for everything like that. And a team from the four groups, including representatives of the Council of the Great Central Sun for planet Earth, came to planet Earth, and they began creating a couple of places that we know of today as Lemuria and Atlantis. Now, the initial purpose of these two places was a place to allow the volunteers to step down their energy and to become physical on planet Earth. So they came and they are residing here, but in a higher dimension, a higher frequency. So for a native human, if they were to see them, they wouldn't see anything because it's a different energy vibration. But eventually, over time and through a process that that is known in a quantum manner, they stepped down their energy until they became physical here. Now, once they were physical here, they began a building process of building up temples and different places and things like this. And they slowly began bringing in different native humans and teaching them these different things, higher concepts. I mean, for some of these volunteers who are here teaching them, it's like, this is what we would teach a 2-year-old. And it never really went much beyond that, shall we say. But after a time, they got to a point, maybe 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 years would go by, and they would finally experience death process. Now, one of the things that they created was a space, a fourth dimensional space around this planet that we know of as the near realms. And this is the place where, when you cross over from your physical life This is where you go. This is where you have a snapshot, a flash, if you will, that shows your entire life. And you get together with your guides, and it's like, all right, these are the things that I wanted to experience. These are the things that I wanted to do. How did I do? And you go over that, and, perhaps you got everything you wanted done, and perhaps you didn't. Perhaps you created some situations that you need to balance. Then you begin the process of creating your new life and deciding what you want to experience and what you want to go through and the things you want to learn and how you wish to contribute to the planet and to the project and different things like this. And then you create the situation and your guides go out and go, okay, this is what they want to do. Let's find the best place. And they actually come back to you and say, okay, here's 3 sets of parents, right? This is where they live. This is who they are. These individuals will give you the best opportunity to do what you want to do. You choose. And you choose. And when the time comes, there's a group that we know of as the ushers who are there with you, and they assist you to incarnate. They are also there when you cross over. The ushers are. That's their role. Now, there are many who refer to them as angels. We refer to them as ushers, myself and Janice. In Janice's work, she deals with people who are crossing over sometimes, and there are many times when this has happened, and she's actually walked into a room and seen or felt the ushers there, waiting for the individual to cross. It can be very, very intense. So as time went on, and each time an individual would cross over and be reborn, they would begin to forget a little more about who they truly were, where they came from, these sorts of things. And finally, as time moved on, you got to a point where they viewed themselves almost like guardians of the planet. They knew that there was much more to life than the physical 5 senses told you. And they moved out and amongst the people. They went into Peru. There's an underground, there's a city under the Lake Titicaca that they say the gods lived in. Krishna lived in a city that they actually feel that they have found off the northwestern coast of India. They went into what is today the UK. They created Druidism. They went into Greece. They went into Egypt. They helped create the early religions on the planet. And then different ones from the 4 groups, the original groups, came as masters. And they assisted in creating the religions that we have today. Now, I know for a lot of people, they feel that religion has done so many bad things. And they have. And religion is based on man-made dogma and writings. You talk to a religious person and they say, "Oh no, that's the word of God." No, it's the word of man. But what's the important part of religion? The important aspect of religion wasn't to control people. It wasn't to destroy people. It was designed to assist people to look beyond their five physical senses, to believe that there was more happening than meets the eye. And in that regard, religion has been very successful. But let's look at it honestly. There is a move away from religion, especially with younger people. Younger people, they look at it and say, "Nah, this is not for me." Because they see the division it creates, that they see the separation it creates, and they're like, "No, that's not, no." So it has served its purpose, and in truth, it's on the way out. But then again, people like me are on the way out. 100 years from now, you won't have people channeling. You might have people doing hands-on healing like Reiki or the Blue Star Healing Method, stuff like that. But spiritual teachers like myself, channelers like myself, I seriously doubt if there'll be anyone out there like that. Truth be told, people don't need. They need it now in this moment as they're moving, transitioning, shall we say, which we'll get into. But it's coming to a close. It's coming to a time when when you're not going to need it. So what do we have here? Now, backtrack a moment. I stated planet of free will choice. So a grand cycle starts. There are indigenous, like the Maori, Native American Indians, people, Hawaiians, who are very, excuse me, who are very connected with the Pleiadians. But like Hawaiians, Maori, Tahitians, those from Rapa Nui, which is also Easter Island, they're all actually descendants of Lemuria. And I wouldn't be surprised if Native American Indians are as well. So, of course, they remember. There's a remembrance within them of the Pleiadians coming and being here. So what's it all about? You have a grand cycle. In this grand cycle, people move forward. Things get created. People experience things, go through countless lifetimes. And you get to a particular point on the journey, right? And when you get to that point, a choice has to be made. Not by the volunteers, by the native human population. Do we choose to evolve? Yes or no? 4 grand cycles? The answer was no, we're not ready. Then someone from the Council of the Great Central Sun for Earth comes on the planet and says, okay, that's fine. And they pull the rug. What that means is everything ends, everything stops, everyone's gone. Now, these different human species that are in cryogenic freeze are brought back to the earth, reanimated. They start living their life again. Different animals, everything come back. Start over. Reset. The council gets together and says, okay, let's go over what's happened during this grand cycle. And they make new plans and they decide to alter certain things, change certain things. Instead of going down this way, we're going to go down this way. All sorts of things. So what we're in now is technically classified as the 5th cycle. In 1987, there was an event. It's called the Harmonic Convergence. And at that event, the native human population made a choice. This time they chose yes. And within the Ashtar Command, within the ships of the 4 original groups, and other groups that are here assisting in this planet, the Pleiadians, for example, Syrians, there was a collective sigh of relief. Because it gets very tenuous once you go past 5 or 6 grand cycles without a yes. Many times it gets to a point where you just have to abandon the project altogether. This started a cycle. On December 21st, 2012, we hit the midpoint of that cycle. And at that point, we had another 18 years to go in the cycle. And we look at what's happening today. Most people that you would ask would tell you that this world is in dire straits. And on the surface, it is. Still going to get worse too. But it's part of the process. Now, not all volunteers have participated in all 5 grand cycles. At the most, they have participated in 3. I would say the majority would have participated in 2. Extremely small percentage have only participated in 1. That's because a grand cycle takes a lot out of you. For those from the 4 original groups who are also volunteers on the planet, they, on the other hand, have been here through all 5 grand cycles. Because it's their project. They're in charge of it. They're responsible, shall we say. Now, I've heard a lot of people say Well, you look at you see what's happening in Syria and what ISIS is doing and what the U.S. government is doing and what's happening in Europe and what's happening in North Africa, in Libya, in places with Boko Haram, in Somalia with the pirates and stuff. And many people, including volunteers, are like, I'm powerless. I can't do anything to change what's happening. And I tell you, yes, you can. You see, someone asked me recently if Jesus was back on the planet. And the answer, of course, is yes. Jesus is here, as is Mary Magdalene, as is Confucius, as is Kuan Yin, and Buddha, and Muhammad, Enoch, Elijah, all the masters, both male and female, are all incarnated today, right now. No, they are not like they were during those incarnations. They don't even have all of the same abilities in this time that they had back then. But this time is different from back then. Back then it was about opening doorways. It was about activating encodements for people so that they could have their aha moments and realize there's more to the picture than what they think. It was about them going around and implanting encodements in different places around the world so that in the future, when they came back, they could go to those areas and either consciously or unconsciously be able to activate those encodements. That's what's currently occurring now. The energies of the New Jerusalem have already been reactivated. And there are encodements in many places that have been reactivated, that have been activated and are now working. So we look at ISIS and we look at things like that, and what actually is occurring here? It's two things. One, with December 21st, 2012, which was the point of no return, that was the point where it was like, fine, this world is going to evolve. And I will be honest with you, there might be a great deal more destruction to happen on this world before it moves fully into the new way of being. But that's okay. Because death is an illusion and it's not real. I've always found it most fascinating. Christians, they say they have such a strong belief in heaven. And they have such a strong belief in the afterlife. And yet they fear death so immensely. Literally does not make sense. So where we are at now is we are at a place where we have to ask ourselves, what can we do? And I'm going to tell you right now, there is only one thing you can do. You have to learn to walk in your own shoes. You have to learn to live from your heart. You have to learn to make choices from your heart. You have to be willing you understand. Willing to throw those shackles off. If you're more concerned with how other people view you than how you view yourself, that's got to change. Look, I'm 51 years old. I've been very fortunate in my life. I've gotten to live in 4 different countries, 3 different continents. I have gotten to go to some of the most amazing places you can imagine. And even so, just like each one of you, I have to choose from my heart. I've gotten to see people from all different kinds of cultures and religions, things like this. As I said in a previous video, I walked into a Hindu temple. I've been in Islamic mosques, Christian churches, Buddhist temples, Jewish synagogues. I have stood in the Vatican, in St. Peter's Basilica, and watched a Catholic Mass take place. Every one of these people praying and worshiping God. They're more concerned with their own dogma. You need to be more concerned with your own heart. It's a journey. We live in a world of illusion and games, and we're trying to figure out what's real and what's not real. We're trying to figure out what's important and what's not important. Are you living your life, or are you just going through the motions? And if you're not living your life, if you're just going through the motions, why do you disrespect yourself so much? Go down the rabbit hole? We're down several layers now. So we're going to go one more. How can you change the world? By changing yourself. Taking personal responsibility for your choices, taking personal responsibility for your spirituality, taking personal responsibility for who you are here. How do you treat each other? In our group, the way, people don't attack each other. It's a sanctuary where everyone can explore their spirituality as they so choose. I actually thought I'd be so happy if 100 people belonged to that group. And now it's over 1,500 and still growing. Because people are tired of attacks. People are tired of the bullshit. They're tired of the conflict between everyone. They don't want that anymore. So you start with yourself. You don't allow people to treat you like crap. If you speak from your heart and somebody blows it up in your face, is that your responsibility? Or is that their responsibility? All you can do is speak from your heart. Speak from a place of love. Ask yourself a question. What would love do? You cannot control how somebody else will react, what somebody else will say to what you say. There's a lot of people who hate others, who are centered and balanced in their life and within themselves. And they hate them not because there's something wrong with them, but because they so desire what you have. This is all a project, a plan that has been carried out before on other planets, and it'll be carried out again somewhere else. There's a planet right now that's already working in the process, in the beginning stages of their own project. For those individuals from the 4 original groups who have been here from the beginning, incarnated, just like everybody else, they'll finish when this lifetime finishes. And they'll go home. And there are others from those groups who are new to the planet, who have just come to the planet, and who are going to be assisting moving forward. For the volunteers, many of the volunteers who have been here through this grand cycle will continue here for many, many lifetimes to come. There will be a few who will leave, who have been here for multiple grand cycles, but for the majority of them, they will remain here. There will be other volunteers who have participated in earlier grand cycles on this planet, but who have not been here through this grand cycle, who will be coming in as well. They're already starting to come in. Now, somebody also made a comment about, look at everyone who's leaving. And they're leaving through a multitude of different ways, very creative ways, very sad ways. Look at all the musicians who have decided to check out, exit stage left. Have a nice day. Guess what? They're coming back. They're all going to come back. Many people are leaving now because they know at a soul level that if they leave now and they come back, they're going to come back in this new energy. You look at people, say between 20, up to the age of 25. They are so different, generally speaking. They are so different. Those of you with young kids, and I know that there are many within our group that have young kids, look at them. Look into their eyes. Feel their energy. And you go, damn, that's different. Encourage them. Yeah? Encourage them to open that door. Foster them in being open to receiving everything from Spirit that they can. And this will assist the planet. It will assist them by living by the truth that you are. You will open that door. You will be contributing to this planet in massive ways. For all the volunteers, you guys have done a phenomenal job. And you will continue to do so. Don't stress out. Don't focus on the illusion, focus on the heart, focus on your interactions. Most of the masters, I would say probably 98% of the masters who are incarnated right now, they work mainstream jobs. They have barbecues and they go to movies and they go out for dinner and just like everybody else. Before, the work was very external. Now, a lot of the work is internal. Think about it. Balance. Many blessings to all of you. Little bit of housekeeping, just a little bit. Tomorrow, I'm going to do a video on the Blue Star Temple and its introduction and services that we're going to be providing and classes and things like this. And I'm also going to do something a little bit different. I am putting myself forward as a spiritual teacher. So I'm going to share with you what got me to where I am today. The experiences that I had. Some of them are mind-bending and mind-blowing. But in the meantime, love yourself, love each other, treat each other with love and respect. Be good to each other. Many blessings and much love.